Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Helen and Tim, for giving us this opportunity. So, Robert and I had a brief discussion yesterday, and I think this is going to be freestyle, Robert, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So I think Robin has Robin and Robert. Goodness, I hope I'll not call Robert Robin and Robin Robert. So Robin has sort of like given us a bit of an introduction into what we are going to be discussing. And I thought maybe we would let Robert, not Robert, we would let Robert begin with just sharing your experience. I thought the Ebola outbreak in West Africa and now in DRC is a really interesting place to start, with a lot of things to learn. I think we were reading a lot of things in media, and perhaps you can share with us those experiences, your experience with rumors, what they are, and so on. And then I'll pick up from there. Robert?
Thank you, Noni. I think besides getting vaccines into a country for you to do a vaccine study or trial to get that authorization, and then getting the ethical protocol approval within a country, the other major challenge that you're likely to face when introducing vaccines is the word rumor. And these rumors, rumor is not a new word. I think we have all experienced rumors, whether at a workplace, whether in our classes or schools where we went to. But I have found it in the last 6 years to be perhaps one of the biggest challenges that vaccine deployment or studies or trials actually face, because you cannot do a study without communities or people, individuals accepting to be part of that study. So since rumors intentionally will affect our ability to create acceptance within communities for people to willingly volunteer to take the vaccine, it becomes one of the biggest challenges that vaccine deployment or study or trial teams face on a daily basis. In fact, in the DRC program, one of the things that keeps us busy on our operational and steering committee calls is the feedback we are getting from the community about how things are shaping out or moving around. So yes, rumors could be because some people are ignorant about what the actual information should be, or what, I don't want to use the word, ignorance is not a good word. Maybe they do not know what the facts are. It could also be a misunderstanding. Somebody has heard the message but has not really understood it well, or their interpretation of that message is different from what it was supposed to mean, so they fill in the gaps. It could also be that we are providing piecemeal messages. We are saying this and not conclusively or comprehensively, and every time we have left a gap, somebody fills in the gap with what they think is appropriate. Or it could be a failure for us to listen to the community. And I think one of the biggest sources and enablers of rumors is the thinking that we, the technocrats or the technical people in vaccine studies, trials, and deployments, we know it. We have the standards, we know what is supposed to be done, and therefore, usually or historically, the process has been that the communities are bombarded with lots of information. And in some cases, communities are not provided information. Or a rumor could also be a reaction to a mismanagement of an event during the deployment of the vaccine. So those are some of the experiences that I've noticed that bring up rumors in communities, but also it could be for political capital, especially if something is happening at a higher level within the communities. Let me say senior political level. So those are some of the things that I've witnessed. If some of you know from experience that a vaccine study in Ghana was shut down several years ago because the politicians in the area where the study should have been done went to their parliament and said, oh, this study was about using our people as just testing kits in a lab. And it is poison, it is going to kill our people, it is going to make our wives as infertile, they will not be able to give birth. All these things were said. And the parliament sat and said, we don't want this thing in this country. So all these things can bring about rumors. I think the key word for me from my last years of dealing with the Ebola vaccine is how much are we willing to listen? How much are we listening? And how much is the community participating in informing what we are communicating and in redesigning what we have communicated, and then finding appropriate means and channels of communicating to them to create the acceptance. Noni, that would be my first take on rumors.
Thank you so much, Robert. And even as you were speaking, and before I share our experience in Kenya and in Kilifi about handling rumors, I'm reminded how serious rumors can be and how they can really cost either a study or even sometimes cost a life. And I was shocked sometime, I think about 2 years ago, and I've just looked it up again now on the internet. There was a story, I don't know how many of us who are on this webinar would have heard about it, but there was a story of 2 researchers three actually, who were attacked in Amhara region in Ethiopia. And 2 of them lost their lives. And this was as a result of a rumor. Obviously, when you read that story, tragically, there wasn't appropriate engagement or sufficient engagement that had been done. One of the scientists was a local, and they said, no, we understand our community, we know them, and therefore we don't really need to engage, and we already have the appropriate approvals. This study has been approved by the ethical regulatory bodies and so on and so forth. But then somebody somewhere started a rumor about that study. They were doing something, I think, in schools. And so they went over to a particular school, and I think they went and did whatever study activities they needed to do. And I suppose on their way back, they were accosted somewhere, and they were, they were beaten up. And then 2 of them lost their lives. So that's rumors, and that is what a rumor can do. It can be quite dire if it isn't handled properly. So I think in our experience, perhaps if I move to you've talked about some of the sources of rumors, Robert. Some of them are coming from leaders, some of them coming from media sometimes, and sometimes in our own experience of rumors, and sometimes where the rumors can come from. We are seen to be a wealthy research institution. We started off with almost dilapidated buildings, old wooden structures. And then after a few years, we have these beautiful, magnificent buildings. So many vehicles running around the community. And so there was an information gap in the population in terms of, hang on, where have these people gotten all this money from? And then that was linked to study activities such as collection of blood samples from study participants. And then people started saying that those people are devil worshippers, coupled with, of course, having a lot of expatriate white researchers. So there already we had a rumor circulating in the population. So how did we handle that? As Robert has said, a lot of community engagement, listening to the community. So some of our senior scientists, Sasi, who is here with us, I don't think Dorcas is with us here, but Sasi, Vicky Marsh did a some fact finding. They did a study on community perceptions. And so that gave us very rich information in terms of what is the community thinking about us? What are they saying? What are their views? What are their thoughts? What are their concerns? And then on the basis of that, we were able to develop appropriate information to respond to some of these rumors. Do rumors die? Can they go away? I think in our experience, some rumors, yes, you can handle. It depends on the type of a rumor. So for example, the matter of devil worship has never, we've never really been able to delink ourselves totally from that. 10 years, 15 years down the line, or 12 or so years down the line when we've been doing engagement, you will still go to a certain village and you are engaging there and somebody will put up their hand and say, but you people are devil worshippers. So does that mean then you stop handling that rumor or you keep quiet about it? No, it means you just continue speaking and having that knowledge that there will be some members of the population whose attitudes may not be able to be changed and you can't do anything about it. And so you focus on those that are willing to listen to you and to change their views, and those that are not going to change their views, you continue speaking to them, but with that knowledge that perhaps they'll not change their views. So yeah, I think, I don't know if you have anything else to add, Robert. And Robin, you'll need to come in to tell us about time. I don't know whether we are, I think we had 20 minutes.
It'd be great to hear Robert's response. It's very nice listening into this conversation.
Yes,
there's a couple of things coming in the chat, but I'll feed them in a minute. So
okay.
That's very insightful, Noni. I think some rumors will come, just pop up. They don't have long legs, like I would like to say, or they're not well grounded. It's somebody who's reacting to a situation, is not happy with the way you are managing the program, or they feel there was a benefit that this program brought to the community, but they did not benefit and they would start something against the project. So there are such rumors. Then there are rumors which are typically out of somebody having less knowledge. And now with the internet, with videos and social media, everybody has access to some audio, video, to hear something, and then they interpret it in their own ways. The issue of blood has always been a source of rumors in many studies. It is a rumor in Sierra Leone. It is a rumor in Kenya. It is a rumor in DRC. In Rwanda, it is a rumor. Everywhere you go, it's a rumor. But one of the things I want to emphasize is understanding the community resources, because the best people that helped us talk to the community about why we needed to draw blood for the study in Sierra Leone were community champions, Muslim leaders in the community who were working with us on the study, who, after understanding the purpose and the reason, could then help their communities understand, to draw the line between science and faith, how this was not a violation of their faith and their Islam beliefs or practices, which was important. So one of the things I would say again is, how do you draw on the assets within your community so that you are not creating parallel or new things that become extremely difficult for the community to understand. The other one that Nomi has said that I would want to emphasize is analyzing the source of rumors. Where is this rumor coming from and why? And who is likely to be the source? We had a very unique guy in Sierra Leone. He was a a motorbike rider, who was not happy with some of the work. He was also a drama group leader in his community, and during the selection of community drama clubs, he didn't feel that maybe his drama group was given a fair opportunity during the selection. So he came up with a rumor within his workplace and he started spreading it. And when we identified that he was the source of the rumor and we talked to him, he told us why he had spread the rumor. And we got to know it was about the way he felt. And then we worked with him to dispel the rumor, and he also went ahead to tell communities, oh, this is the reason why I was saying that. So analyze the rumor, understand where it is coming from, identify its sources, and then come up with a clear strategy to respond to the rumor. It is also very critical that issues of who communicates what are clarified within the study or the vaccine deployment. Not everybody should speak about certain things. There are things that need to be handled by the principal investigators. There are things that need to be handled by the community facilitators. And in the previous discussion, one of our colleagues has just said, taking the senior researchers to the field. One of the things we have actually done in DRC, which has been very helpful, is getting the study team into the communication and community engagement. They come in and listen, get first-hand information from the community, because sometimes what the community is saying is about the performance of me, Robert, the staff. And then when this feedback is given to me, you might think it is my community team misreporting how I'm doing. But when you hear it from the participants, then you have a better understanding. And them also being to be present to respond to some technical issues that the community team is not able to explain, which also become a source of misinformation if poorly explained, has been very helpful. Robert. So that would be my part of what I would add on what Noni has said.
Thanks, Robert. Can I feed in a question from the chat, just picking up on your question of sources, Robert? In that case, your example, you were talking about quite a kind of local source in a way, a local sort of grievance in some ways. Linking to our conversation earlier in earlier sessions, Alan's put a question around, you know, often rumours are to do with wealth disparities or dissatisfaction with inequality. When it's something that large, can community engagement actually address it? How can you address something when it's rooted in larger sort of structural inequalities? And I'll leave you with that one and invite anyone else to do add questions into the chat or raise your hand if you want to give one. But I wonder if either of you can reflect on what you do when the source is perhaps a deeper thing.
Noni, you can go first.
Yeah, so I saw that question from Alan, and I mean, it went back to what I said in terms of you can address some rumors, and for our case, the matter of devil worship has never actually left us. You still go to some villages and you find that people still look at you and say, you know, you're devil worshippers. I think it's realized you should address it, and community engagement can partly address it. So in our experience, what we have done because of those wealth disparities is tried to explain why we appear to be wealthy, where the source of the wealth, where is it coming from? If it is funding, what are we using that funding for? Why do we have beautiful buildings? And trying to explain the need for very good internationally acceptable research to international standards, and having funding to be able to equip laboratories and so on and so forth, allowing the community members, typical community members, even those who may not have gone to school, to come into our laboratories to actually see for themselves where that wealth has gone. So that has helped to reduce very, very considerably, quite considerably actually, that rumor of, you know, you are a devil worship institution, you take our blood to sell it to make money to enrich yourselves. And obviously also providing opportunities to the local population, employment opportunities, having the local population, the local community employed within the organization, and partaking of the wealth to be able to, it may not reduce the disparities much, but at least the community sees that you are actually attempting to distribute that wealth that you have amongst the population by giving them jobs, by giving them consultancies, by giving them contracts to do some work. But that does not completely eliminate that particular room. I think that has been our experience. Robert?
You're right. I think one of the key strategies you can use is having open day field clinic visits, where communities simply come in to see what's happening at these study sites. This has been very helpful in the countries where we have worked, because then the community comes in, it's an open, you walk in, you ask questions, you get a better orientation on what this study is about or what the vaccination deployment is about. But I think at the end of the day, helping the community to understand the bigger goal of why this is being done becomes very crucial in them separating what the other development issues and challenges are within their communities, and what the specific goal of this program is, and what are the long-term benefits of this to the bigger country or development of that country. So we have also taken that route, but we have also been as part of the partnership within the communities, being the ears and the eyes of the communities where we serve, basically picking up things that we feel bigger stakeholders outside the vaccine study or trial need to take up and address them with relevant ministries or departments or districts so that they know what else needs to happen within the community. That's part of the feedback we get, because some of the feedback we get is actually not related to the study. It is related to things that the community feels should have been done the way you are running your program. Maybe they see a good thing about your program and said, why are we not doing the same for our education and our schools for our children? But that is not the mandate. So you take that, communicate it to relevant authorities that need to address such issues. Then the other thing which also came up in the prior discussion, this is about the use of words: trial, study, campaign, vaccine deployment. All these words have meaning and confusion when it comes to the community, and the community interprets them for different ways. And they could be sources of rumors. For instance, we have avoided intentionally to use the word study, trial, campaign, etc. What we have done is to sit down with our stakeholders in the communities or countries where we work and say, what would be the best description of this program for your country? What name do you want? The word trial study is a technical protocol term that is for you and me, the researchers, but the community doesn't have to have that as the study name. Then, for instance, in Rwanda, it is called Umulinzi, which means Rwanda Initiative for National Vaccination Program. In DRC, it is called Twejekowe, which means Save Ourselves. In Sierra Leone, it is called Ebevaxalon, which is so specific to that country. So that the community feels this is our thing. The name was a generation of us. And therefore, this program, though it is a study being implemented by maybe a new organization or community, we are the authors. However, I want to go into this, Noni, so that we can, as we conclude, I know Robbie will soon be telling us a few minutes. The effect of rumors. Rumors, we said about this close down, complete close down of a program can be just a small rumor, which has been mismanagement. But hesitance, if rumors are not managed, communities will resist the vaccine from the word go. And if rumors are not also managed, you are likely to lose out on compliance. The community might accept the vaccine, but if it is a 2-dose vaccine, then compliance becomes an issue because something has not been managed along the way. Maybe you want to add on what are some of the other significant effects of rumors in studies.
And if you can respond, Noni, then we will have to draw it to a close, but great to have your final reflection.
Yeah, I mean, you've sort of like mentioned the most pertinent ones, and earlier on when we had gone into the breakout groups, so when we're doing the listening exercise, we had somebody from Malawi, and they talked about how you know, recruitment, for example, can be affected. Recruitment of participants, which you've talked about, can be affected when a rumor is not handled appropriately. And I did talk about how it can actually affect people. In our experience here in Kilifi, we also we treat rumors very seriously, especially where they can affect the safety of staff. And I've given the example of Ethiopia, but even in our own experience, we have had staff, because of rumors, because of misinformation, when they approach a home and they go to a home and, you know, there's been a rumor circulating in that particular village, for example, or emanating from that particular homestead. It can even be dangerous for study staff. They can be attacked. So it's really, really important. Anytime for us in Kilifi here, within the population where we work, anytime there's a rumor, we really try to find out where is it coming from, what has caused it, how can we address it. So I think I don't want to repeat again, Robert, what you said, but it's the same. I think maybe others can add who are listening. But I wanted to comment on just something small, Robin, if you will
Okay, just
allow
one
me.
thing to finish then. 'Cause
One
we're
thing,
a bit
yes.
tight on time.
Robert, you talked about not everybody can address a rumor. Not everybody can go out there and say something. And what we have seen in our experiences, we've had to develop key messages. When something has come up and we sit down and discuss together what message do we develop to respond to this. And then we equip a lot of our staff who come into contact with community members with that information so that everybody is saying the same thing. Because you talked about if people give different information, that can still perpetrate that particular rumor. So we've seen that to be working for us in terms of developing key messages so that everybody is giving, talking the same language related to that rumor.